Hi, it's me again. So, this is gonna be the part 2 to our big stadium. I don't see why we have to delay it anymore. Let's just get into it. Okay, so for this video, we're going to be putting on the lines and circles that they have in the stadium. You know, that literally mean nothing. I've had people ask, oh, is it some sort of like score if you're like out here, you know, like a dartboard? No, it literally means squat. But anyway, you're going to need a ruler, preferably a flexible one so it can contort to the curve of the stadium, and a pencil. Yeah. Okay, so what I like to do to find, you know, the middle and make a nice line is you go to these little holes on either side. This is where the handles of the stadium, of the sled would be. Forgot to mention in the last video, you're gonna want to, you know, just cut them and take them out first because you don't want rope in the way while you're painting. What is that? Okay, that's okay. So what you do is you take, you measure it from this point to this point, right? And then you just put a line right in the middle of that. So since these are about roughly 7 inches apart, the middle should be at 7.5. I don't know why my brain thought it was 4. I mean, not 7.5, 3.5. I'm just being idiot. Sorry. It's been a long day. So once you have that, you have one mark on this side, and you could just, if you wanted, just trace a straight line all the way to the, what did I say? Straight line? A straight line all the way to the other side. Or what I like to do is kind of just do this exact same thing on the other side, and both just kind of work them down one at a time, so only go like halfway. So once we have this mark, don't worry if you notice that your Mod Podge is starting to crack and bubble up. Just kind of push it down, because if your pencil's too sharp, it will break through it, which is why I don't like using metal drivers in these stadiums, because it will chip the paint a lot easier. But we're going to be putting more Mod Podge on anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But anyway, what you do next is you take your ruler, make sure it's flattened, and try to line it up with the other line on either side. And then you want to make sure it's as straight as possible, and just kind of trace your way down. So that got us right into about the middle. And I don't know how oh, you can't see that really well on camera. So we have a nice line going right down through. And I'm just talking a lot. I'm just a nerd, okay? Don't listen to me. Actually, no, do listen to me. That's the whole point of this video. I don't know anymore. My brain isn't working. Okay, so you just do it on the other side. And as you can see, we have the point here and the line. And so they should line up just pretty well and just kind of connect. And it'll take some readjustment. I have OCD, so my brain won't allow me to do it until it's perfect. And if it doesn't look perfect, I have to go back and redo it. Okay, so we have a nice line. And then the tricky part, where you kind of have to just eyeball it, is because there aren't any holes on the other sides of the stadium. You have to just estimate and find the middle. I know it really sucks, but yeah, I don't really have a whole lot of advice. You can try going from the middle, but I just kind of take the ruler and go to what I think would be about the middle, and I do a fainter line. Kind of see if that looks about right. Actually, that looks pretty well. I'm gonna darken that actually now. So we have that one. One way to tell if, you know, it's in the middle well enough is if you have even sections, like if this portion looks like noticeably smaller than this portion, it's because the line's too far to the left. So, but anyway, now that we have this one, it should be easier, you know, just make the next one, just kind of do the same thing and just ruler, make sure it's as straight as you can get it. Okay. That bugs me. I hate how when you trace with rulers, it always shifts it slightly up. Okay. Just like that. Now we have all of our lines. I'm gonna go back over and just kind of darken it just by hand. It doesn't matter if you know the lines are perfectly straight right now. And the Mod Podge is coming up, that's lovely. Doesn't matter if they're perfectly straight, you know, they don't have to be, I mean, you want them straight, but if there's like little ridges on the lines themselves from, you know, going back over and tracing it by hand, as you can see, it's not as clean looking as this one. Don't worry about it, you're going to be putting paint over it anyways, so really not a big deal. It's if it were to be like, go straight, go off this way, and then come back up over here, then you'll have a problem. But yeah, just something like this is fine. Okay, now for the circles. The circles are a bit trickier because those ones you really have to pay attention and try to get them, you know, in line with everything. What I like to do for the middle one is take a roll of tape. It can be duct tape, it can be painter's tape. I'm using this one because it's slightly bigger. Oh my goodness, this thing is dirty. But you're just going to trace this in the middle. You can take anything rounder, but I prefer to have a hole in it so I can see and make sure everything's easier. For my first few stadiums, I used a round like jar that I had, but I couldn't see through it, so I couldn't tell how well it was lined up. So you're gonna place it in the middle, and you're gonna wanna make sure that all 4 sections, I know it's kind of like doing like 6th grade fractions, you know, the pie charts stuff. So you're gonna wanna make sure that they're all even. Another thing that can help is if you place it down on the floor and stand above it, you know, get a bird's eye view, and also if you can get rid of shadows so you can see, because the shadows always throw me off. But if you're just working outside like I am, you can just kind of twist it around, make sure everything looks even. Okay. And just adjust it as needed. I think that looks pretty good. So I'm gonna hold it down, try not to move it too much, and just kind of trace it around, you know, like you would back in kindergarten, tracing shapes. Cool. So we have that, and it doesn't look like it picked up right here. That's just because everything else on here, the Mod Podge, because I only put a thin layer on, it's just kind of cracking because of how sharp the pencil is right now. I definitely recommend using a duller one and not using a mechanical pencil. A mechanical pencil could potentially even just chip the paint. But yeah, it's all on there. Just kind of making it a bit darker. Now the outer circle is where it gets a bit trickier, okay? Because it's hard to find something that big that you can also see through, but it is a bit easier to just eyeball to see if it's even. And seriously, what is this dark spot? It's really bothering me. I mean, not dark spot, it's just white. What the crap? Okay, the stadium chipped or something. Sorry. So for the outer circle, I like to use either a laundry basket. I swear we found this one at like the dollar store. Just kind of flip it upside down. You can trace it that way. I think this one is a little too small, so I like to use, it's gonna sound really ridiculous, but I like to use Christmas tree stands. Here, let me show you. So I like to use Christmas tree stands, the things that, you know, you put your Christmas tree in if you celebrate that. If you don't, totally fine. But yeah, it's a bit bigger, and I just like the way the circles look more on it when I trace it with this. And something you can do, this one has 4 little like screw things. So you could try to line those up with the 4 lines that we just made. It also has these down here. It's another way you can also tell if your lines are also like really lined, like straight and even, is if these little dots right here, not dots, the heck am I saying? Honestly, what is the point of these? If these line up with the other things. But yeah, you can measure to see how far from the edge of the sled that the stand or laundry basket is to make sure it's even on all sides. So without pressing down, this is 4 inches exactly. Go around to the other side, 4 inches. Yeah. This side, also 4 inches. And on this side, 4 inches. So I think we got it about pretty good right here, how it is. Again, you're just going to want to push down, but instead of, tracing completely underneath by sliding the pencil under, keep it straight up and down and level to make it a bit wider. Well, as much as you can. And then just go around. And then keep going. This is the trickiest part. Is when you're, what is it? When you have to move your arms around each other. It's so fun. Okay, so yeah, we did. We did decent. Again, it looks like I missed spots, but that's just the Mod Podge rising up. And so just go back over and darken them. I really want to take care of that spot. It's really bothering me. So I'm gonna do that real quick. I'll be back when it's taken care of. Okay, so I just have those spots drying. I just sprayed some paint. But while we wait for those to dry, we can actually do another one of the steps that is needed. So you see all this gross gunk around the edge? Yeah, we're gonna cover that up with duct tape. I know your guys' sleds probably don't have that, but applying tape is important for when we put the walls on the stadium. So you're gonna wanna just go around with about pieces about this big, and just line them up with about how far down the holes are, maybe a little bit over, and you just place it, cover that, and then boom, you got a piece of tape on a metal dish. You couldn't even see what I was doing. I apologize. Look, tape on a dish. So you just do that all the way around the stadium. You're also going to want to make sure to really try to flatten it out. You don't want a whole lot of bubbles on this step. I mean, you don't want bubbles really anywhere on the stadium, but just avoid it too as little as you can. And mine has dents and chunk of just paint and all that crap, so mine isn't gonna look as clean as your guys' probably will. Or who knows, maybe you guys are just really bad at applying tape. Okay. I did it. There's tape on it now. On to the next step. Now we actually get to paint. So, the stadium that we are making has red lines and Rello. What? It has red lines and yellow circles. I will be using Apple Barrel's red apple color and also Apple Barrel's, what am I saying? Apple Barrel's yellow flame. So, let's do that. I have my little paint thingy here. You don't need a whole lot. Remember, don't like just squirt a whole bunch because you'll end up wasting the paint. If you don't want to do that, something I like to do is I shake the paint and then I unscrew it, and then I just use what's inside the lid and then put it back on and shake it again whenever I need more. I think that works, especially if I just need a little bit. Anyway, the yellow circles overlap the red lines on the stadium in the show. So we're going to put the red on first. I am using a 2/0 brush. I don't know how you can see that right there. But it's pretty old, and I think I've actually cut some bits off of it. Like it's like frame and all that. But anyway, it's a pretty small one. You don't want anything too thick because it ends up looking kind of weird, and you could end up putting too much paint on, and that affects the way the Beyblades move. But yeah, it's really simple. You just dip your paintbrush and trace the lines you just made. So yeah, do that. I prefer to start at the end. You could start in the middle if you wanted to. This is just how I've always done it. Start from the end and work your way inward. Okay, so I finished this part. Now I'm going to start from this side and work my way back down to the middle to connect them. Yeah, darn it. Okay. I connected them. Now you just do the same with the other line. Then the lines are complete. Okay, so now that we have all the lines painted, I'm gonna have to let them dry, which can take a little bit depending on what the weather's like outside or if you're inside or outside. Then we can put on the yellow circles. So, we'll be back when it's time to do that. Alright, so the lines are all dry now, and for the circles, you basically just do the same thing. You just do a little bit at a time and trace all the way around. But I prefer to start in the middle, on the middle circle. That way it, if I were to try to do this one while the outside was still drying, I would end up like dipping my elbow in paint a lot. So it's just easier to do the one on the inside first, and then do the one on the outside. Alright, yeah. So I'll be back when they're done. Alright, first circle done. Now I gotta do the big one. That'll be fun. Alright, so now that you have all the lines and circles on, and now that they're all dry, why does the middle one look like a different color? That's still yellow. The lighting's just weird. You just put another layer of Mod Podge on it. And yeah, so let's do that. My neighbor's dog is being obnoxious. Sorry if you can hear that. Okay, so I think that's going to be where I'm going to end things off today. The next step, it will take pretty long. It's the most painful process in the whole stadium building process, and that is the hexagon design that are on all of the freaking stadiums and all of Beyblade for some reason. It's so annoying and so painful to have to do all of them, because not only do you have to trace all of them by pencil, then you have to do all of them again with like a Sharpie to make them the actual color that you need. It's so painful. So the video for that, part three will probably take a lot longer to get out than part 2 did. So I apologize for that, but it's just because it's a really long and painful process to do. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know if you have any questions, and maybe send pictures to my TikTok to show me how your stadium is going if you've started making it. Thanks for watching. Jake out.